This corner of North Yorkshire, even though there are hundreds of cars and bikes to choose from at every auction, there's one category of vehicle that Derek's particularly drawn to.
High volume van, equivalent today of course is the Transit. Brilliant, isn't it, this? Big money in ice cream, you know. My dad used to run these commercials all around London, delivering and such like that. So as a kid, I'd be sat in there. So I've got a soft spot for them.
And so have we. With artisan bakeries and posh delis popping up everywhere, we reckon there's dough to be made in a retro van. The problem is finding a good one.
A van is bought to work and worked to death. Oh, it looks a bit rough to me. It's a no-no.
But there is a candidate lurking in the showroom, a true workhorse that oiled the wheels of industry in the 1960s. Designed by Alec Isigonis, who later penned the Mini, the Morris Minor arrived in 1948. By the 50s, economic boom times meant people were buying more stuff. So Morris modified the Minor to make a delivery van. As did Austin. The two companies had merged but retained their identities. Same vehicle, different badge. These utilitarian heroes were fitted with telescopic dampers, stiffer leaf springs and low-ratio gears, which meant they could lug up to 600 weight, about 1,000 potatoes in real money. They also had a separate chassis providing options when it came to bolting on the bodywork. This one is a 1968 Austin. They're rare for a reason.
They were worked hard. They had to be. They were a tool. Then they were passed on to someone who bought them cheap. So for 35 quid, you abused it for the second time, the poor old things. So no wonder there's none here. The proper ones out there now are like this, that have had a massive restoration. You've got lovely straight panels, as straight as you can expect on a van. If they're a bit hickledy-pickledy and a bit dingy and dongy, then it's going to show up a mile. The second thing I'll look at is that, the guttering. They don't stand the test of time. Whoever's done it have made a lovely job, even down to the little train holes. Nothing wrong with that. It's lovely. Right colour engine, dead right. Absolutely dead right, that. Beautiful. Do you know, honestly, I can be messing about on the forecourt, back to the road, wherever, and you hear, and you turn round and there it is, a Morris Minor going down the road.
They were distinctive, weren't they?
Oh, man, wonderful, yeah.
It seems too good to need restoring, but there are rumours that this might not be a normal project.
Lot 445, 1968, Austin stroke Morris Minor van, whatever you want to call it. Lovely condition, super, super condition. Whereabouts, where? 10 I've got, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15,000, 15, 5, 16. On my left, 16. Where do you find them in this condition?
If we get this,
On my left, you've got a plan.
Project X is underway.
16,000. On its way then, 16,000.
Strong chance Derek will hate me.
16 for the first, second, third and last time. 16. Bangers.
So what's going on? Well, the first step was paying an extra £2,000 above our provisional bid, but then it was off to specialist engineer George Kinghorn in Durham.
Quite simply, we take motors, batteries and components from salvage electric cars and put them into classic vehicles and then re-engineer the whole car, put the package together and power it by electric. It gets a new heart but keeps all of its soul.
Derek doesn't know we're doing this, but earlier on he did just happen to share his views.
Oh, don't talk about electric rubbish. No, I'm not interested in electric, no, garbage. 5-minute wonder, 20 years, we all done, finished and gone, they'll be all a scrappy, forget it all.
Not for fun, then.
Does that come over? Yeah.
Initial impression, George, what do you think of it?
Very clean, a good bit of restoration work. Yeah, the bonnet stay works, that's always good. We've replaced quite a few of those.
So you've had a few Morris thousands or derivatives of in the workshop before?
Our staple diet is Morris Minor, so yes, we're very, very familiar with them.
Time for a quick drive, so in a few months we can compare the experience.
Oh. think that sounded more like the starter motor. I'm just going to give it a rock in gear. Right, maybe that'll do it.
The Austin currently has a 1-litre petrol engine, standard for this model.
So it's not got a lot of power?
No, not a massive amount.
So when it was full of stuff?
I would imagine its performance was sluggish, I would say. Oh, got fuel starvation she's trying to cut out. Oh, she's dying. Let's see if we can... That is one dead Morris Minor.
So we have actually technically broken down, haven't we?
Yes, totally.
Right, so it's going well.
Yeah, but that's the part of the joys of a classic.
Yet George will replace that fun of pushing a classic with electricity.
I can hear a lot of classic car owners who are alive today literally turning in their grave.
I can totally understand that as well.
Why?
Because I feel the same as them. I think these things don't want to be ripped apart and modified out of all recognition. I think you need to do it in a very careful way.
The plan is to buy a motor from a written-off Nissan Leaf and pair it to the Austin's existing gearbox.
Everything in the cab will end up looking exactly the same. We hide all of the electronic components and control systems under the dash. Under here, the motor actually takes up roughly the same space that the A-Series engine does. We like to spread the batteries out and make them fit around the vehicle in custom-made battery boxes.
George makes it sound easy, but he's an expert, as well as being a bit of an evangelist.
As soon as somebody who is a doubter has a drive of one, I'm sure that they'll find them just as enjoyable to drive as they do the standard Morris Minor or Austin, whatever we're going to call the van.
Now there's a challenge. Derek is about to sell his much-loved, almost identical Morris van.
I've run this now 2.5 years, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been really nice, you know. I've loved using it, and I don't really want to part with it, but I do like a change.
When our conversion is done, we plan to lend him this one for a bit to make up for his loss. Whether he'll drive it or not is a different matter. In Durham, George is preparing to remove our Austin's engine.
Ta-da.
Replacing it with an electric motor, usually from a Nissan Leaf, isn't everyone's idea of preservation. But care will be taken to recycle every part possible.
The A-Series engine on the Morris Minor, the motor was actually only bolted in 2 places at the front and then mounted on the gearbox at the back. The factory fitted an engine steady, which is a rod with rubber washers in it to absorb the vibration. When we put it in the Leaf motor, we use the original mount points at the front, but we also make sure that the engine steady picks up on a hole on the motor as well.
Good for authenticity, but also the DVLA. They now check that the structure of the vehicle hasn't changed.
Makes sense. I mean, if people cutting the chassis and re-welding it might not be that safe.
As for the old petrol engine,
I'll just pull it out a little bit at a time.
It will live to see another day in some form.
One is to sell it as it is to somebody else to reuse in another vehicle. Or a couple of our customers have asked us to get the engines completely rebuilt, put in a stand, and one actually asked us to put it in a glass case, and then he's displaying that in his hallway in his house.
We are recycling.
Yeah, nothing gets thrown away.
Next up, even though it sounds like George is playing Tetris, he is in fact in the process of buying something that will fill this hole.
Sold on approval.
There we are.
There we go. Tell me what we just bought.
It's a written-off 2019 40 kilowatt end connector Nissan Leaf, so we bought that through the salvage auction. £10,000 plus the VAT.
A few days later, our fairly pricey donor was on the premises and ready for its surgery.
It's written off because it's been scraped down the side of something, so it's damaged all the front suspension and the front wing, driver's door's all mangled. Then the worst thing is the actual rear quarter panel. Most of it will have a second life, so any of the undamaged panels will harvest off the car to bring other Nissan Leafs back to life. So it's all about recycling with us.
And of course, safety.
You could kill yourself quite easily with this. It's got 400 volts DC coming out of the battery. So we have to make sure that the car's safe. So that's taking the safety disconnect out, which is basically like a big plug.
Don't plug back in.
No, I'm not going to. We make sure that the plug and the keys are well away from the vehicle so nobody can accidentally plug it back in or turn the car on while we're working on it. So we always make sure these are put in the safe.
Stage 2 dismantling begins with the help of George's son, Tyler. It's needed to get this important lump out. Not as pretty as the A-Series engine, but there's more to it than meets the eye. The stack, as it's called, consists of 3 elements. There's the actual 110 kilowatt motor, capable of 148 brake horsepower. An inverter that changes DC, or direct current from the batteries, to AC, alternating current, that the motor needs to work. The third bit is the power delivery module. We'll replace this because it's too big, but its job is to charge the high voltage batteries and reduce the high voltage currents, so things like the lights and heater don't get fried. When the motor and inverter are eventually paired to the batteries and the existing gearbox, our Austin should be good for up to 100 miles on a full charge.
There you go.
Internal combustion engines have about 2,000 moving parts.
Watch your feet.
The motor only has one.
Watch your hands.
It should be trouble-free for up to 150,000 miles.
The advantage of going for this motor is it's newer. I think this has only got about 15,000 miles on it, so it's hardly worn in.
Of course, the other thing we're getting from this donor is its batteries, which do deplete over time.
We just sold a 2011 Nissan Leaf, so about 12 years old. So we started with a range of about 70 miles, it's down to 40 miles, so not even half yet. The same amount of power, it's just its range drops over time. We use 18 of the 24 modules that are in this. There's not enough room to physically get any more of the battery modules in the Morris Minor.
Just like a big version of what's in a phone, we're left with this. Once George has broken it open and extracted the separate modules, we can then start electrifying our Austin van. Across the Pennines, our 60s van is almost ready for its transplant. Austin power will soon be electric power.
So we don't need the top bit.
No.
What was it called again?
PDM, power delivery module.
The bit that supplies low voltage to the lights, heater and computer. It's just too big, so a smaller one will be placed under the van.
We'll take the Type 2 charge port and we'll reuse that. Apart from that, that's the only thing on the PDM that we use.
The other bit we don't need is the Nissan Leaf's transmission. And there's a good reason why.
The Leaf is a front-wheel drive car and we're putting the motor into a rear-wheel drive car. So we have to turn the output of the motor from being to the side to being to the rear. So this is the motor face. This is the actual output shaft of the motor. It's a bit like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. So we made a 2-piece adapter so that we can always use the Leaf end, and then we change this end for different gearboxes. So this one sits on there.
To make sure this joint doesn't wobble itself to bits, George and Tyler also fit a plate that bolts the gearbox to the motor. And then, this marriage of old and new is ready to be put into our van.
We want to get that motor in place where it's going to sit.
Right there.
We're having to make sure that there's not too much of an angle on the prop shaft.
Go down.
If you angle that too much, it can come to the end of its travel and bind.
There'll be some fiddling about to position the motor accurately, but essentially, 1968 now has a new 2019 heart. The electrification of our nearly 60-year-old Austin van is in its final stages.
So this is the inverter. So it takes the DC current from the battery pack and turn it into AC current that the motor can use.
To squeeze in the motor and inverter, the whole unit had to be lower than the original engine, which caused a problem.
So we're not allowed to modify the chassis or monocoque of a car as per DVLA's rules. So we've actually made a lower bracket which sits on the original footprint of the old one. Has a new engine mount rubber on the top, and then that'll then have a piece of steel fabricated across the top to join those two up to actually hold the motor in place.
The lowering of the motor means this fabricated box can also be squished in. It will house 6 of the 18 battery modules.
If we close the bonnet, then we can actually look underneath and see if the clearance is okay on everything. There's no big clunks or noises.
All good, but when it comes to the rear batteries, things aren't quite so rosy.
We designed the rear battery box along a similar lines of ones that we use in other Morris Minors, and we wanted to put it in the same place that the fuel tank was. Made that up and then came to fit it and found that on this side, the front bracket for the fuel tank is about 5mm further back than the one on the driver's side.
And this is all down to the fact that they were all just slightly different.
Yeah, just will not go up into that space.
So we can't use that box?
No.
The solution? These 2 new ones. So 6 batteries at the back and 6 in the middle, where a Lamborghini would have its engine.
And if people get excited about mid-mounted engines, then why can't we get excited about mid-mounted battery packs?
Are you getting excited about a mid-mounted battery pack?
I may not look it, but I am one of the most excited I have been for a long while.
As for the next step, it's probably best to label this under the heading of Dark Arts.
We are mapping out the components and the basic layout of the wiring looms in the vehicle.
So it's like a big London Underground map, isn't it?
Aye. But it's a little bit easier to get lost on this one.
Luckily, Head of Design James Tribe is on board, but there is next to no chance of us understanding what's going on here.
Pink green.
Pink, green. Did you take it?
No, just about there.
Just there.
What's an FNR switch?
Forward, neutral, reverse.
You need a bridge off from here, so you want one.
Do you want one? You want one that's like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a VDE board?
It's the name of the guy who designed it for us. Electronics.
Electronics, right.
Did they just go there to kind of get an idea of where?
No, because you've got cables going in 3 directions. You need to split off, don't you?
Yeah.
Is that the Victoria line?
Purple, brown, no, brown, yellow, and you want a green, yellow.
This lot connects the new components together, and it all works alongside the Austin's existing wiring. Hopefully. In Durham, George and the team are ready to wire up our van's electrical components.
So that's the data connection.
Many of them need to be connected into the main battery boxes.
Laser cutting is massively reduced time, because you can imagine trying to mark all those out and get them exactly the right distance between each other. Veritable pain in the backside. Once they're in, you can see these screw heads, we can bolt them in and also make sure that it's got a watertight seal between the box and the connector.
James returns to help figure out the tricky business of routing.
Where are we going? Over the top of the chassis. So we're coming low voltage here to there?
The thin 12-volt wires just need to be tidy. The high voltage cables that power the motor need to be extra safe, so they'll be enclosed in a strong pipe.
So this is actually metal to give the protection to the cables that we're running, up to 400 volts. So obviously this is why we want to make sure this is routed in a way that protects it and keeps it away from any rotating objects, mainly the prop shaft.
And the consequences of if it all goes wrong with that big bit of cable, what happens?
If the worst happened and this was sheared and split, the car would sense it and shut everything down, but you would still have a live cable.
And that would make your hair stand on end.
Yeah.
The wiring will take a few weeks, but after that, our van should be ready for the electric highway. We're hoping Derek's hair doesn't stand on end when he finds out what we've done to one of his most loved classics. In Durham, our van for the modern age is almost complete, and ready for its maiden road test.
It's kind of like, it's going, and it's not going to be here anymore, and it's just become part of the family.
The conversion has taken a good few months, but curiously, our Austin has been here for over a year. The extra time was down to DVLA wanting to check every stage of the work before allowing its re-registration as an electric vehicle.
So she's charged up?
Yep, 85%, not fully yet. We always like to give it charge in increments and then test things afterwards. 80 to 100 miles is what I would say is the range of the van.
And you've even managed to return the filler cap?
Yes, that's the original filler cap that it came in with. We spend a lot of time trying to make things look exactly the same as they were when it was a petrol-driven car.
And so, on a slightly windy afternoon, we're now ready to see how our creation performs. Fingers crossed, we don't get another breakdown.
What controls have we got now then?
So this is the direction selector. At the moment it's in neutral. That's forwards. That's reverse.
And what about the gear change?
So you can select any gear that you want. Most of the time we just leave it in 4th gear, but then if you wanted to win the traffic light Grand Prix, you could put it in 3rd, and that's even faster.
Right, better go for a run then.
Yeah, cool.
There's no clutch, it's just push and go.
I think it's fair to say the first thing to notice is it's quite quick off the mark, George.
Yes, it is. It's got a lot more torque. We've turned the motor down a bit because otherwise it would just wear the gearbox out. But yes, it's still got a lot more power than it had before.
No problems with the engineering then? But this type of vehicle still won't be for everyone.
Some people will say it's just destroyed a classic car. What have we added?
So we've added reliability and more practicality. With older vehicles, it's old technology, so just keeping them going, you're always tinkering with them and servicing and drivability as well. I mean, it's just very smooth and 0 up to 100 mile an hour if you're brave enough.
And there's another thing that requires bravery. The cost. To buy our petrol-driven Austin, including tax and commission, it cost us £19,620. As for parts and labour, we agreed a fee of £43,248. That included the 10 grand for the Nissan Leaf, which brings the total to a slightly shocking £62,868. And we've still got to tell Derek what we've done.
A few weeks ago, you sold one of your own vehicles that you quite liked.
Morris Minor pickup.
So we thought we'd bring you something that we'd let you use for a bit.
Really? It's very kind of you. I don't know what to say. I feel really humbled. I remember the vehicle now, yeah. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's brilliant. That is absolutely lovely. No. Oh, no. Am I really seeing what I'm seeing? This is electric, isn't it? It is, isn't it? Oh. Ooh. Oh, it's very nice of you, but I think I'm going to have to decline this offer. Now, I've done nothing else but slate them for the last few years. We've got a plug, I suppose, have we? Yeah. I'll take it. Yeah. Oh, God. It's a lovely sign written up. Thanks ever so much. That's nice, that, isn't it? It's a lovely job, that. Well, look at that. So it's fully automatic. Well, it's got to be. It's got one speed almost, really.
It's got one moving part, hasn't it?
There's something happening.
It's on. And then there's a little lever on the left.
Yeah.
Push that up.
Yep.
And then it will go forward.
Oh.
This is Derek's first time
Oh, blimey.
driving an electric car on the road.
Oh, this is weird, isn't it? What's doing my left leg? Like driving a milk float, isn't it?
Derek, we've entered a different world.
Oh, this is alien, John, and this is alien to me. I must admit, she does go. This could be the way forward, I think, John, you know. It's a bit like steam. Steam's power in, power out, so it's constant pull is steam, isn't it? And I can see the advantage of the concept, and I can really understand about the younger generation liking them. I've got to admit, it is impressive. Now, here's the car you've all been waiting for. 68 Austin, all electric, absolutely amazing performance. The condition is great, the concept is fantastic. All you got to do is pay for it, and you're away. I'm on the start low, £30,000 £30,000. £30,000.
Good start.
I'm submitting the best bid on the day. 32, 34, 36, 38, 38,000.
Like 40,000? 40.
40. £42,000. 44. 44,000. Telephone. Your bid, Jack. £44,000. Can I say 45 anywhere? 44,000. I'm going to submit it. 44,000. 44. 44. There you go. It's about bang on what I thought it would make, but I always say that, don't I?
No, we didn't recoup the full costs, but for an ambitious experiment, not bad at all.
Oh my lord, look at that.
44,000 for a Morris van. That wants to go in the Guinness Book, that.
A few days later, new owner Lee Goring from Barnsley arrives to meet his one-of-a-kind classic.
Wow, this is something different. Looks all right. Somebody's done a nice job on the bodywork and that. It's beautiful. Plenty of room in here. The big doors, yeah, that's as big as a modern van.
As a heating engineer, Lee will be using the Morris, or in this case Austin, for work.
The reason I like electric cars is because if you're not too mechanical, they're easy to look after. I had an old Porsche 944 and the engine was playing up, so I had that converted to electric. So this will be a similar thing.
He's also looking forward to giving his ears a bit of a rest.
When you've been driving around in noisy vans all day, it's nice and quiet, quite peaceful.